What is going on, everyone? Jason the Train Freak here, and it's been a while since I've done a layout update. I've kind of worked on a couple of different projects, so let me show you what I've done. So the last video we seen that we had the plaster down. I have went in and put one coat of paint. None of the buildings are attached or glued in yet. I do have some touch-up painting to do, especially right around the rails where you can see some of the paint peeled off. And that's where I was cleaning the top of the rails. And yes, I do have the layout on, so you're probably hearing some locomotive noise in the background. And you can see the flashing building light over there. And a car light over there, so I've had the layout on for a while because I actually kind of abandoned, or I'm taking a break from this project here, working on another project. And so, but I wanted to show you this just to start off with it. So, yeah, let's go ahead and go over to the other project that I have been working on. Alright, so this is the latest project that I've been working on. I used to have a Walters double crossover here, but this is helping me towards my NMRA Civil Engineering certificate, and this has been a booger bear. This is a double crossover. I hand built it from stencils only, no jigs. So stencil is somewhere in the room, but I've had so many issues with this thing, not because of how I built it. It was more electrical issues than anything else. Basically with the double crossover, you have four frogs. You have a frog here, and you have a frog here, but this whole thing here, and you know, to that point is a frog, and then from here to here to here, it's like a big triangle. That's a frog as well. And the issue that I was having was this frog here and this frog here had a short between them, and so that's not going to work. But basically the way it works, if you count this as 1, 2, 3, and 4, as long as they're lined straight, you know, these are going to have a certain type of polarity. This one's going to be the right rail, that one's going to be the left rail. But anytime you press any one of these buttons here, it flips that polarity. And this one will always take the left rail, and that one will always take the right rail. And depending on which direction you're going depends on the polarities of these two here. So I'm going to demonstrate it and show you that I finally figured it out. But before I do, let me show you the wiring schematic from DCC Wiki. As you can see, you can wire this without using any type of frog juicers, and it does require using 4 tortoise switch machines. And keep in mind that a tortoise has a built-in double pole, double throw toggle, or 2, I think, single pole double throw toggles. Yeah, 2 single pole double throws. So now, and I tried to use these. My friend Marty Misner, his YouTube channel is M&M Shortlines, or used to be. I think he kind of quit model railroading, which is sad. But he sold, or I can't remember if he sold these or gave these to me, but these are Tam Valley dual frog juicers. I was going to try to use these for it, but it just did not work, and it kept shorting out. So that's why I found the thing on DCC Wiki that you can't do it with 4 tortoises. It's just a booger bear to wire up, and it was. But I will say that it did help me troubleshoot and find out that anytime I tried hooking this frog up here, I was always getting a short. And it finally got to the point to where I set my locomotive right here, and it didn't have power, but as soon as I flipped these over here, it was getting power, which told me it was getting power from here. Now, the only thing that separates this frog and that frog, there's 5 copper ties right here in the middle of the diamond. I'm going to zoom or get close on it. And you can see that there are gaps in the copper ties. I don't know why it was shorting, but what I had to end up doing was take a triangle file. So it's got a triangular blade on it. And not that I was cutting a groove across, because I've already did that. I started cutting grooves on the sides where my gap was to make sure maybe some solder kind of fell down and it's trying to bridge on the bottom side of the copper plating. So that was no good. But let's go ahead and test this thing while I've got it on camera. Now this is my Bachmann GP7. It's got Soundtrack's Blue Nami in it, but I'm going to be using it with DCC today. Because I've had some people ask me, can you use DCC with Blue Nami? Absolutely you can. And I'm recording with my phone, so therefore I'm not able to use the Bluetooth feature on it. So we're just going to DCC it up. Alright. So we got our headlight on. So we're just going to kind of coast through. And we're going to just kind of hit all the directions. Alright. Now I will tell you, the diamond area, it's not perfect. But the locomotive goes through. Oh yeah, I forgot. That piece of track there is not powered. So what I'm going to have to do is slide it back just a little. Oh, change my direction. There we go. There. Yeah, from here, that has no power. And that's going to be, I'll explain that here in a little bit. Alright. And now we're going to go back through the diamond the other way. And that track there don't have power either. So we're going to go ahead and stop it. But you can see that I can move my locomotive back and forth. And if you're curious to know, I'll go ahead and move it again one more time across. So that way you can see it go. Luckily enough, when I took the Walters one out, I did not, went ahead and muted it. I did not have to reposition my tortoises, thank God. So this is very similar to the Walters build. Now, I do have some ties taken out of here because this one is struggling a little bit, but I think what I'm going to do is sand these ties down and slide them back under instead of gluing them to the main boards. As long as they're there, it'll be alright. So while I'm standing here, now that I've got this in, I did have code 100 track where my hand was. Now we've got oscillations here and we've got oscillations here. This is a block, this is a block. I did not want this whole thing to be a single block, so that way when I'm doing my signaling and whatnot, if I got a train coming from here going this way, I don't want the signal here, if a train is supposed to be coming this way, to go red. So that's why, you know, different pieces are isolated between each other. So when I had to wire everything up with the DCC wiki stuff, I had to make sure that I put the power for this turnout, and this half of the diamond separate from this and this until I could get them to go through my coil sensors, which look like this. for block detection for LCC. So turnouts are supposed to be an individual block unless you have an electronic locking for that area. Alright, so carrying on, like I said, this used to be code 100. We have now since changed it to code 83. And if you notice, there is a line going back right here. This is actually where the old track used to be. And you can kind of see the shadow or the dust marks or the fading marks from the light. And that's why you can see I don't have power here. I've dropped the feeders here, but I have not wired them in yet. And the reason I'm doing this is to bring the tracks forward a little bit, so that way I can add another track in front of that box car there for pass more gas, even though I knocked my tank car over. So I'm going to reposition my ladder and kind of give you an idea of, this is where the old main line, the main number 1 was. This is where it's going. So it's going to be able to allow me to slide it down, you know, at least an inch. And if I need to, I can try to possibly curve it back. But I really don't want to do that, because what this will allow me to do is go ahead and throw a crossover in. And I might be able to get this switch here moved down this way some, which means I can move Budweiser and pass more gas down some as well. And that's going to allow me to do some better things in the switching complex. Now, and if the ladder comes down, of course, shack a sit will come down too. The only building I will not mess with in the complex is Wilson & Company. It is staying put. It is not moving at all. The only thing that I might do is the track that's going into the building there. I might swing and move it over here to that other track and not have it come from the yard side. So that's going to be one of the things that I plan on doing. Also, this crossover here will be relocated way down there, and I'll have another entrance come in on the yard, and we're going to make this marshalling yard open-ended. That way, a north and a southbound train can service this area at one time. And then all of this code 100 track on the main line, there is a code 100 switch there. The Pico double crossover, all of the Atlas switches and all of that, they're going to come out. And I'm going to be hand building the rest of my switches. I do have one hand built switch in, and it's right above my finger. So that one's going to stay put. It actually already has a tortoise on it. So even better. But what I'm hoping is we can add another track. Like, say, let me move this here. You know, have that track like right here. I'm going to stub it right here, and we'll add a switch this way. So we're going to make that an open or a different facing. So when someone is coming in to switch out these two industries, they'll have the locomotive in between those two cars. So they'll have to pick this one up on the nose end of the locomotive, pick that one up on the back end of the locomotive. So it's going to add a little bit more complexity to the switching arrangement. So that car won't require a runaround, but this one will. So that's kind of what I have been up to, and I will tell you, I have spent more than enough time on that guy right there. It took me about a week to get it built, and it took me about 3 days to finally troubleshoot and get all the wiring and stuff on that guy straightened out as well. So it has been a booger bear, to say the least. But at least I got it figured out, and now I can move on. And so you can see what I'm doing there. If you're curious what these radiuses of the switches are, this is a 28-inch radius. This is a 30-inch radius. What I'm using on the outside track, I'm laying it first. I ended up picking these up at a hobby shop on a consignment. So I got these for $9. And it came with two of them, and you can put the ends together to connect it and make it one longer piece. I would recommend, if I had two more of these, that would be so much easier. But it just fits in there, and I'm not going to try to do it one-handed because it is kind of tight to get it in there. But that's where I'm at. I'm kind of at a holding pattern now until I get my crossover built. But when I build my crossover, I will add that switch onto it and make it as one solid piece. And then I've got a double slip already built. I just don't know if it's going to be doable or not. It's definitely got some issues. The double slip, in my opinion, was harder to build than the double crossover. So, all right. Well, other than that, that's all I've got for this update. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Let you see the flashing Budweiser sign while I'm talking to you about this. There we go. Fill in the bell. You'll be notified on all the future updates. Make sure you smash that like button. Alright, that really helps the channel out more than anything else, whether you're subscribed or not subscribed. So, other than that, I appreciate you watching. Appreciate my channel members out there. If you're interested in looking at becoming a channel member, you get to see some behind the scenes footage as I'm working on the layout. Feel free to go give it a look. Other than that, y'all be safe out there. Happy railroading.